In the sprawling metropolis of Dubai, where towering skyscrapers pierce the sky and ancient desert winds whisper secrets of old, Arab millionaire Hamza Al-Rashid embarks on a journey that will forever alter his destiny. Disguised as a humble driver, he seeks to uncover the truth behind his wife's secret life, a truth that threatens to shatter his heart and upend the world he thought he knew. Born into unimaginable wealth, Hamza's life was one of opulence and privilege. From his first breath, he was wrapped in the finest silks, surrounded by luxury that many could only dream of. Yet, amidst the grandeur of the Al-Rashid mansion, where priceless art adorned every wall, fountains sparkled under the desert sun and peacocks roamed like monarchs, Hamza felt a hollow emptiness gnawing at his soul, an ache that no amount of gold could soothe. As a child, he wandered the corridors of his family's palatial estate, seeking solace in the vast library, a sanctuary filled with ancient tomes, maps of distant lands, and stories of explorers who defied boundaries. In this room of parchment and ink, his imagination soared beyond the golden confines of Dubai. He devoured tales of distant kingdoms and cultures where life was led by the heart, not by duty. With every page turned, his amber eyes sparkled with curiosity, his spirit yearning for a world beyond the shimmering skyline. But with his dreams grew the weight of expectation. His father, Farid Al-Rashid, a powerful magnate in the oil industry, watched Hamza's growing curiosity with both pride and trepidation. He admired his son's thirst for knowledge, but feared the allure of foreign lands that might steal away his heir. His mother, Amelia, was gentler, yet no less firm, anchoring him to the traditions that had fortified their lineage for generations. She frequently reminded him of his engagement to Maryam, his cousin and childhood companion, bound to him by an arrangement made long before either could speak of love. Though Hamza and Maryam had shared years of laughter and companionship, their bond was one of kinship, not romance. Each shared glance held unspoken truths, and every smile from Maryam bore a trace of sadness, an acknowledgement of a fate neither had chosen. Hamza knew love could not be commanded, yet he remained silent, shackled by duty and respect for his family's legacy. As the years rolled on, the weight of tradition bore down on him, tightening its grip with every mention of his arranged marriage. By the age of 18, the pressure had become suffocating. Determined to escape the gilded cage, Hamza declared his intention to study finance in the United States, a decision that sent shockwaves through his family. Amelia wept, fearing the foreign world would steal her son away, while Farid saw potential but worried about the threat to tradition. Unbeknownst to his family, Hamza's journey abroad would not only shape his future, but also lead him back to Dubai, where he would uncover secrets that could either break him or set him free. Disguised as a driver, he would come face to face with the hidden truths that lay behind the glass towers and beneath the desert sands, forcing him to confront not only his wife's secret life, but also the shadows that haunted his own heart. Before his departure, Hamza faced the reality of his duty once more, the promise that bound him to Maryam. Standing before her, he felt an overwhelming mix of guilt, confusion, and longing for a freedom he could barely name. Maryam's eyes held a complex expression he couldn't quite decipher, a delicate balance of resignation and hope. He searched her face, desperate for a sign that could break the silent chains of tradition tethering them together. Yet all he found was the same uncertainty that haunted him, the same doubt mirrored in her gaze. On a clear morning, as the sun painted the desert skies in hues of gold and crimson, Hamza took his first bold step toward liberation. Boarding the plane, he left behind the familiar sands of Dubai, the sprawling Al-Rashid mansion, and his family's anxious faces. Most of all, he left behind the shadow of an engagement that loomed over him like a burden too heavy to carry. For the first time, a taste of freedom danced on his lips, tinged with the bittersweet ache of departure. But this journey was more than just a flight to a new land. It was a passage into the unknown, an escape from a destiny that had been written long before he was born. In America, Hamza saw the chance to redefine himself, to learn, to explore, and to finally become the man he yearned to be. As the plane soared above the clouds, the weight of expectation began to melt away. A newfound hope took its place, whispering of possibilities beyond the golden cages of his inheritance. Landing in New York City, Hamza's heart raced, not from fear, but from exhilaration. The towering skyscrapers, the vibrant streets, and the boundless energy of the city filled him with awe. It was a world so unlike the one he had known, a world where he was not merely the heir to the Al-Rashid Empire, but a man free to chart his own course. He threw himself into his studies with unyielding determination, absorbing knowledge like a desert flower drinking in rain. Far from Dubai's extravagant soirees and opulent banquets, he discovered a different kind of wealth, the fulfillment born of hard work, perseverance, and self-discovery. His classmates hailed from every corner of the globe, each with stories that opened his eyes to lives lived without the golden constraints of tradition. They taught him that the riches of the spirit far outweighed any material possession. But just as Hamza began to feel at home in this new world, destiny intervened with a cruel twist. In his final year of university, news arrived that would forever change his life. Mariam, accompanied by her mother, was traveling to the United States to visit him. A visit meant to bridge the distance that had grown between them. Yet the plane carrying them never reached its destination, vanishing somewhere over the Atlantic. The tragedy struck Hamza with the force of a storm, tearing through his soul and leaving devastation in its wake. Grief enveloped him, a suffocating shadow that followed him through the bustling streets of New York. Days turned to nights, yet the pain remained, raw and unyielding. In his sorrow, he made a choice. He would stay in America, burying himself in his work, distancing himself from the haunting memories that awaited him in Dubai. Years went by, and Hamza transformed himself into a formidable figure in the world of finance. He built a life far from the gilded walls of his past, constructing a future on his own terms. But no distance could shield him from fate's call. News reached him that his father, Hamza Al-Rashid, was gravely ill. Without hesitation, Hamza boarded the first flight back to Dubai, his heart heavy with anticipation and dread. Returning to the land of his birth, he found his father weakened and frail, the once mighty titan reduced to a shadow of his former self. In their final moments together, Farid took Hamza's hand, his voice trembling with both pride and sorrow. He entrusted his son with the legacy of the Al-Rashid Empire, urging him to carry forth the family name with honor and strength. Hamza, his heart heavy with grief and duty, accepted the mantle that had always been his destiny. But beneath the weight of responsibility lay a deeper question, one that echoed through the golden halls of his childhood home and lingered in the sands of the desert. Could he find a way to honor his heritage without sacrificing his dreams? Could he be both the son his family needed and the man he yearned to become? Standing at the crossroads of past and future, duty and desire, Hamza knew his journey was far from over. And as he looked out over the city of Dubai, its glass towers glittering beneath the desert sun, he felt a familiar ache, the longing for freedom still alive within him, waiting for its moment to rise. Hamza's return to Dubai was both familiar and alien, like stepping into a dream where everything was just as he remembered, yet slightly altered. The city had grown, its skyline now crowded with new architectural marvels that stretched even higher toward the heavens. Yet the scent of the desert wind, rich with ancient whispers and the aroma of spices from the bustling souks, remained unchanged. Immersing himself in work, Hamza sought refuge from the grief of his father's passing. The world of oil contracts, corporate negotiations, and late nights at the office became his sanctuary, filling the void left by loss. It was during one of these late nights that his world shifted once more. Marina, young, poised, and strikingly beautiful, with emerald green eyes and hair dark as midnight, entered his office to deliver forgotten documents. Her presence was like a breeze in a stifling room, a burst of life in his monotonous world of numbers and strategy. Yet it wasn't just her beauty that captivated him. It was her smile, warm, genuine, and untainted by the pretenses of high society. From that night on, Hamza found himself inventing reasons to visit the reception desk, lingering just a bit longer each time. He was drawn not only to her laughter, which sounded like bells in the stillness of his heart, but also to her wisdom and kindness. Beneath her quiet demeanor lay intelligence and a depth of spirit that transcended her role in his father's empire. Despite the vast gulf between their worlds, Hamza found himself falling helplessly, irresistibly, in love. Their interactions, once limited to fleeting smiles and polite exchanges, soon grew into conversations that stretched late into the evening. Hamza began taking Marina out, introducing her to the luxurious lifestyle he had always known. Dinners at the finest restaurants, gifts of diamonds and gold, Yet Marina's joy wasn't rooted in wealth or extravagance. She found more happiness in simple pleasures, a walk along the shore at sunset, shared laughter over street food, or moments spent beneath the vast desert sky where the stars seemed close enough to touch. In Marina, Hamza found not just a lover, but a confidant, a friend who listened without judgment, who saw him not as the heir to the Al-Rashid empire, but as a man yearning for freedom and belonging. Their love bloomed like desert flowers after a rare rain, vivid, unexpected, and breathtakingly beautiful. For the first time, Hamza felt truly at home, not in a grand mansion, but in Marina's embrace. 6 months after they first met, under the moonlit sky and the glow of Dubai's skyline, Hamza proposed. There was no grand spectacle, no diamond ring, just words spoken from his heart. Marina, tears shimmering in her emerald eyes, accepted with a kiss that tasted of hope, love, and promise. Their engagement sent shockwaves through Dubai's elite society. The whispers were relentless. How could the city's most eligible bachelor choose a mere receptionist? Hamza's mother, Amelia, received the news with a cold shock. Protective of her son and fiercely loyal to tradition, she saw Marina as an outsider, unworthy of the Al-Rashid name. Her polite yet distant demeanor toward Marina masked deep-seated disapproval. But Hamza stood firm, his love for Marina unwavering. They married in a ceremony that was both grand and simple, blending the opulence of Dubai's high society with the intimacy that Marina cherished. Beneath an arch of white roses, against a sunset-painted sky, they vowed to build a life together. Yet even as they spoke their promises, shadows lingered at the edges of Hamza's heart. Shadows cast by the judgmental whispers and Amelia's icy gaze. Their first months of marriage were like a dream. Every morning, Hamza woke to find Marina beside him, her hair cascading over the pillows like midnight silk. They explored Dubai together, Marina's curiosity turning every outing into an adventure. She saw the city with fresh eyes, finding beauty in places Hamza had long taken for granted. With her, the familiar became extraordinary. But as the magic of their honeymoon phase began to wane, the undercurrents of doubt grew stronger. Gossip flowed through the circles of high society, whispering that Marina was an opportunist, a gold digger who had bewitched Hamza for his wealth. At first, Hamza ignored the rumors, dismissing them as envy and spite. But his mother's cold disapproval cut deeper, her words sowing seeds of doubt. It was after one particularly tense dinner with Amelia that the first crack appeared. Marina had been unusually quiet, her eyes downcast as Amelia's sharp remarks pierced through the air. That night, as they prepared for bed, Hamza couldn't help but notice Marina's distant gaze, her forced smile. A question echoed in his mind, one he was too ashamed to voice. Could it be true? Could Marina have married him not out of love but for wealth and status? The seed of doubt took root, spreading its tendrils into every corner of his heart. He began noticing things that had once gone unnoticed. How Marina hesitated before accepting his lavish gifts, how her eyes sometimes drifted toward the humbler neighborhoods when they drove through the city. She seemed uneasy amid the extravagance, longing for something simpler, something real. Questions plagued him, growing louder with each whisper, each sideways glance from his mother. Did Marina love him for who he was, or for the life he could provide? Had he been blinded by love, too naive to see her true intentions? Hamza found himself torn between the life he had built and the love that had become his sanctuary. As the sun set over Dubai's golden sands, Hamza stood at the crossroads of trust and suspicion, love and duty. The woman who had brought light into his world now cast a shadow over his heart, and as the whispers grew louder, threatening to consume all he held dear, Hamza faced a truth he could no longer ignore. Not all fairy tales end happily ever after. In the haze of suspicion and heartache, Hamza found himself spiraling into a dark world of doubt. Each whisper he had heard, every judgmental look his mother cast at Marina, echoed in his mind, growing louder with each passing day. The once solid foundation of his love began to crack under the weight of his insecurities. It was then that Med, his most loyal chauffeur and confidant, came to him with news that shattered the fragile trust Hamza was clinging to. With a voice laced with worry, Med revealed that he had been regularly driving Marina to a modest neighborhood far from the glittering towers of Dubai. She would visit a humble house on the outskirts of the city, a stark contrast to the life of luxury she now led. The revelation hit Hamza like a blow to the chest. His mind spiraled into a storm of questions and suspicions. Who lived there? Was she hiding a secret life? Was there another man waiting behind those chipped walls? The fear of betrayal twisted inside him, turning love into torment, robbing him of sleep and peace. Hamza knew he could not confront Marina, not without proof. He feared shattering her heart with accusations if his suspicions were false. Yet the thought of being deceived was too much to bear. In his desperation, he devised a plan. Using his wealth and influence, Hamza disguised himself as Med's double. He dyed his hair, wore colored contacts to mask his amber eyes, and altered his posture and voice. Every detail was meticulously crafted to ensure no one, not even Marina, would recognize him. He would follow her, not as her husband, but as a stranger lurking in the shadows, determined to uncover the truth for himself. On the day his plan took action, Hamza's heart raced with fear and anticipation. He watched from a distance as Marina left the mansion, radiant as ever, but with a look of worry he had never noticed before. His heart ached, but his resolve was firm. He started the engine, trailing behind her at a cautious distance, weaving through the bustling streets of Dubai, away from the glamorous neighborhoods and into the quieter, humbler parts of the city. The car finally stopped in front of a small, weathered house with faded paint and an iron gate rusted by time. Hamza parked at a distance, his eyes never leaving Marina as she stepped out and approached the door. His pulse quickened and his stomach twisted in knots. He expected to see a secret lover, some man hidden away in the shadows, but what he saw left him breathless and ashamed. An elderly man, frail and leaning heavily on a cane, opened the door. His face lit up with a warm smile, his eyes sparkling with a joy that melted years off his worn face. Marina threw her arms around him, holding him tightly, her own face radiant with love and tenderness, a tenderness Hamza had never seen before. In that moment, all of his suspicions shattered like glass, the pieces cutting into his heart as guilt and shame flooded his senses. Tears stung his eyes as he watched Marina lead the old man inside, her voice soft and affectionate. Every dark story he had woven in his mind unraveled, replaced by the truth of Marina's love and loyalty. Unable to stay hidden any longer, Hamza abandoned his disguise and approached the house, his footsteps heavy with remorse. Marina's face went pale as she turned to see him standing there, her eyes wide with shock and fear. "Hamza," she whispered, her voice trembling. What are you doing here?" Her hands shook as she held on to the elderly man, who looked between them with confusion and concern. The old man's voice wavered as he spoke. "Marina, who is this?" It was a voice filled with warmth and vulnerability. Hamza's chest tightened, realizing the depth of his misunderstanding. Marina's eyes filled with tears as she began to explain, her voice cracking with emotion. "This is my father," she confessed, her words drenched in sorrow and love. "He was a carpenter. He spent his life working with his hands, building a future for me. When I met you, he feared his humble past would stand between us. He made me promise to keep his existence a secret, to protect you from shame, and to protect himself from judgment." Her voice broke, her eyes pleading for understanding. The elderly man looked at Hamza with a pain that pierced through his chest. "I never wanted to be a burden to her or to you," he admitted, his voice frail but resolute. "I asked her to keep me a secret, to give her a chance at happiness. A happiness I never had." The weight of his own mistrust crashed down on Hamza, suffocating him with guilt and regret. He had doubted the woman who had loved him unconditionally, who had given up so much to be with him. He realized how deeply he had hurt her, how his own insecurities and prejudices had blinded him. Falling to his knees before her, Hamza's tears flowed freely, his voice choked with anguish. "Marina, I'm so sorry. I let my fears cloud my love for you. I let others' doubts poison my heart. Please, forgive me." His shoulders shook as he sobbed, his pride shattered, his heart laid bare. Marina's tears mingled with his as she knelt beside him, her arms wrapping around him with a tenderness he knew he didn't deserve. "Hamza, I love you," she whispered, her voice steady despite her tears. "From the very beginning, I loved you. Not for your wealth, not for your name, but for the man you are inside." She placed a hand over his heart, her touch warm and healing. "I never needed your fortune, just your love." In that moment, beneath the rusted iron gate and chipped walls of the modest house, Hamza found a truth more precious than gold. Love, real love, was not bound by wealth or status. It was found in trust, in vulnerability, and in forgiveness. With his heart laid bare and his soul renewed, Hamza vowed to never doubt Marina again. As the sun set over the desert horizon, casting golden light over the humble neighborhood, Hamza understood that he had found his true home, not in the mansions of Dubai, but in the arms of the woman who had shown him the meaning of love. The elderly man, his body frail but his spirit strong, stepped forward with unsteady steps, placing a trembling hand on Hamza's shoulder. His touch was warm, grounding Hamza in a moment so raw and powerful that words felt inadequate. Then, as if the universe wished to add yet another layer to the profound tapestry of emotions unfolding, Marina spoke. Her voice was soft, filled with a tenderness that made Hamza's heart ache with love. "I'm pregnant," she whispered, her emerald eyes shimmering with tears of joy. The words hung in the air, echoing in Hamza's heart. For a moment he was paralyzed, unable to move, unable to breathe. Then the weight of her revelation crashed over him, flooding him with overwhelming joy, washing away every last trace of doubt that had once plagued his mind. It was as though a barren desert within him had been touched by rain, blooming to life with hope and love. Hamza's eyes filled with tears, his hands trembling as he pulled Marina into his embrace, his heart beating wildly against hers. In that moment nothing else mattered. Neither wealth nor status, neither gossip nor tradition. There was only love, pure and untainted, radiating from within them. In a gesture that surprised even himself, Hamza turned and wrapped his arms around the elderly man who stood watching, his own eyes glistening with tears. "You are family now," Hamza declared, his voice thick with emotion. "I want you to come live with us. No more secrets, no more fear. You belong with us." The old man's face crumbled as he tried to maintain his composure, but tears of joy streamed down his wrinkled cheeks. He could only nod, words failing him in the face of such acceptance. On the drive back to the mansion, Hamza and Marina spoke as they never had before. With every word they peeled back layers of fear, insecurity, and doubt, laying bare the deepest corners of their hearts. Hamza confessed how others' prejudices and his own insecurities had clouded his judgment, how he had allowed fear to overshadow his love. Marina shared her struggle to protect her father's dignity while trying to build a new life with Hamza, how she had feared losing him if the truth were known. Hamza took Marina's hands, his grip firm and his voice steady. "I promise, I will never doubt you again. And I swear, I will love our child with all my heart, just as I love every part of you. No wealth or status can ever compare to the family we are building together." Marina's face softened, her eyes shimmering with love. She squeezed his hands back, her voice a tender whisper. "And I promise to always be honest with you, no matter how difficult the truth may be. We face everything, together, from now on." Her smile was like the breaking dawn, warm and full of promise, lighting up the night that surrounded them. As the car approached the gates of the Al-Rashid mansion, Hamza made a decision that would change everything. No longer would he live isolated in an ivory tower, imprisoned by tradition and status. He would open his home to his family and friends, inviting them to witness the love he shared with Marina, a love that transcended social boundaries and shattered prejudice. News of Marina's pregnancy and the elderly man's arrival at the Al-Rashid estate spread through Dubai's social circles like wildfire. The city buzzed with curiosity and gossip, speculation running wild about the humble origins of the woman who had captured Hamza's heart. Amelia, Hamza's mother, received the news with a swirl of conflicting emotions. The thought of becoming a grandmother filled her with a joy she hadn't felt in years, yet the knowledge that Marina's father, a simple carpenter, was now living under her roof challenged every principle of status and propriety she held dear. She maintained her composure, her polite demeanor concealing her internal turmoil. However, as days turned into weeks, Amelia began to notice a change in her son. Hamza radiated a joy and lightness she hadn't seen since he was a child. His laughter echoed through the halls, his eyes sparkled with happiness, and the way he looked at Marina was filled with pure, unguarded love. She watched him share meals and stories with Marina's father, his warmth genuine and his affection unreserved. One afternoon, while Hamza was at work, Amelia found herself in the garden, drawn to the peaceful sight of Marina's father sitting quietly on a bench, admiring the blooming roses. After a moment's hesitation, she approached and took a seat beside him. Silence hung between them, heavy yet not uncomfortable. "They're beautiful, aren't they?" the old man said, his voice soft as he gestured to the flowers swaying in the desert breeze. "But they pale in comparison to the love I see between your son and my daughter." His words were spoken with simplicity, yet they cut through the walls Amelia had built around her heart. His eyes held no resentment, only a quiet wisdom born of struggle and sacrifice. For the first time, Amelia truly looked at him, not as a man of humble means, not as a threat to her family's status, but as a father who loved his daughter as deeply as she loved her son. Her voice wavered as she spoke. "You must think me cruel for how I treated Marina." The old man shook his head, his gaze gentle. "You protected what you loved. I understand. I would have done the same." He turned to face her, his eyes filled with sincerity. "But sometimes, love means letting go of pride and allowing others to be happy, even if it's not in the way we imagined." Tears sprang to Amelia's eyes, her chest tightening as she absorbed his words. For so long she had clung to tradition and status, believing them to be the foundation of happiness and respectability. Yet, in this man's humility, she saw a dignity that surpassed all the wealth she had spent her life accumulating. In that moment, Amelia's heart softened. She looked back at the house, seeing through new eyes the love that radiated between Hamza and Marina. She understood now that the true measure of a person was not found in wealth or lineage, but in the capacity to love and be loved. Reaching out, she placed her hand over the old man's, her voice breaking with emotion. "Thank you for raising such a remarkable daughter. She has brought more joy to my son than I ever could have imagined." The old man smiled, his eyes glistening with tears. "And your son? He has given my daughter a world I could never provide. I am grateful beyond words." In that garden, surrounded by blooming roses and the whisper of desert winds, two parents united not by status but by love, made an unspoken promise to honor the bond their children had created. As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of gold and crimson, Amelia rose to her feet, her heart lighter, her spirit renewed. She knew the road ahead would be challenging, filled with judgment and gossip, but for the first time she felt strong enough to face it, for the sake of her son, her grandchild, and the love that had transformed them all. Meanwhile, Hamza dedicated himself tirelessly to building a brighter future for his growing family. Inspired by Marina's journey and her father's humble legacy, he launched scholarship programs for underprivileged youth, ensuring that no child with dreams would be denied an education due to poverty. He invested heavily in clean energy projects, envisioning a future where his child would breathe air untainted by pollution. Every evening he returned home to a house no longer defined by grandeur alone, but by laughter, love, and the warmth of a united family. Marina, in turn, flourished in her new role as both wife and mother-to-be. With each passing day, her love for Hamza and their growing family deepened. Her afternoons were filled with moments spent alongside her father, listening to stories from his youth, tales of love, sacrifice, and perseverance. Together they dreamed of the future, weaving hopes and aspirations for the new life soon to join them. Amelia, who had once held reservations about Marina, found herself gradually drawn into this circle of love. She would bring tea and sweets, hesitantly at first, but with each passing day, she became a bridge between two worlds once thought irreconcilable. As the due date approached, anticipation buzzed through the Al-Rashid mansion. Hamza personally transformed a room into a beautiful nursery, painting the walls with scenes from Arabian folk tales, stories of brave knights, wise sages, and mystical creatures. Marina spent her days knitting blankets and baby clothes, weaving each stitch with love and hope. Their excitement grew with every flutter of movement Marina felt, every soft kick a reminder of the new life awaiting them. Finally, on a warm, star-studded summer night, Marina went into labor. Hours later, she gave birth to a beautiful baby boy. Hamza held his son for the first time, his heart overflowing with love and awe. Tears of joy streamed down his face as he looked at Marina, exhausted yet radiant, her eyes filled with the purest love he had ever known. "He's perfect," he whispered, kissing her forehead with gratitude and reverence. The mansion came alive with celebration, filled with the joyous cries of the newborn. Amelia spent countless hours cradling her grandson, singing ancient lullabies passed down through generations. Marina's father, his hands still steady despite his age, carved wooden toys, each piece crafted with love and care. Watching his family together, Hamza felt his heart swell with fulfillment and happiness. One evening, with his family gathered in the grand living room, Hamza raised his glass, his voice strong and clear. "To love, to family, and to second chances, may we always have the courage to see the beauty that lies beyond tradition and prejudice." Glasses clinked together, laughter filled the air, and in that moment, they were more than just the Al-Rashid family. They were a testament to the power of love, forgiveness, and unity. In the following months, the mansion settled into a new rhythm. The baby's laughter mixed with the melodies of birds in the garden. The fountains sang softly in the background, and the air was filled with a joy that was once a distant dream. Hamza embraced fatherhood with an enthusiasm that surprised even him. He changed diapers, sang lullabies, and woke up in the middle of the night to soothe his son's cries. Every moment, every sleepless night, was a joy he wouldn't trade for the world. Marina thrived as a mother, her heart expanding with love she never knew she could feel. Yet, amid the bliss, she began to feel a restlessness she couldn't ignore. Though she adored her son and cherished every moment with her family, she missed the independence and purpose her work had once given her. She yearned to contribute to the world beyond the walls of the mansion, to create opportunities for women who shared her humble beginning. One afternoon, as their son slept peacefully, Marina approached Hamza with a mix of determination and uncertainty. "I want to go back to work," she admitted, her voice steady but nervous. Not as a receptionist, but as a woman who could inspire change and empower others. Hamza was initially taken aback, his traditional instincts clashing with his love and respect for Marina. But as she explained her vision, helping women from modest backgrounds find their place in the business world, his surprise gave way to admiration and pride. "I'll support you in whatever you decide," Hamza said, his eyes shining with love. "Your courage and compassion are what made me fall in love with you, and the world deserves to see that brilliance. Our child deserves to have a mother who is as strong and passionate as you are." With his unwavering support, Marina began working on a foundation dedicated to educating and empowering women. The mansion's study transformed into her headquarters, filled with blueprints of dreams, plans for change, and the echo of laughter as she balanced motherhood with her newfound purpose. Amelia and Marina's father grew closer as they cared for the baby. They became a team, Amelia with her gentle grace and sophistication, and the old man with his humble wisdom and weathered hands. Together, they passed on stories blending Arabian Nights and ancient folktales, filling the child's world with wonder and love. Yet, Marina's decision to return to work was not without consequences. Dubai's high society buzzed with disapproval, gossiping about why the wife of an Al-Rashid would need to work. Some saw her as ungrateful, others as too ambitious. The whispers grew louder, echoing in the corridors of wealth and power. Determined to protect his wife's honor, Hamza stood by Marina's side. At a grand gala attended by Dubai's elite, he took the stage and spoke with passion and conviction. "My wife is not merely the wife of a wealthy man," he declared. "She is a woman of vision, strength, and compassion. Her work is not about money, it is about purpose, about changing lives." His words reverberated through the room, silencing the critics and earning respect even from his harshest skeptics. Despite the triumphs, balancing motherhood, marriage, and her career proved more challenging than Marina had anticipated. There were sleepless nights, moments of doubt, and days when the weight of expectation threatened to crush her. One evening, exhausted and overwhelmed, she broke down in Hamza's arms, questioning if she was enough. Hamza held her tightly, his voice a steady anchor. "You are more than enough," he whispered. "You are the heart of this family, the love of my life, and a beacon of hope to so many women. And even on days when you feel like you're falling apart, know that you are the strongest person I have ever known." With renewed strength, Marina continued her journey, carving a path not just for herself, but for countless others who would follow in her footsteps. Together, she and Hamza built a legacy of love, courage, and change, one that would echo through generations to come. Standing on the balcony one evening, with the city lights sparkling before them and their son sleeping peacefully inside, Hamza and Marina held each other close, their hearts beating as one. In that moment, they understood that love, when built on trust and respect, could conquer all: prejudice, tradition, fear. And as the stars twinkled above the Dubai skyline, they knew their story was just beginning. One evening, Hamza surprised Marina with an intimate dinner under the shimmering stars, in the lush garden of the Al-Rashid mansion. The air was filled with the gentle fragrance of blooming jasmine, and the moonlight cast a silver glow over the scene. After tucking little S to bed, he led her outside, his eyes sparkling with love and admiration. The table was beautifully set, illuminated by the soft flicker of candles. Marina's eyes widened with delight and curiosity as she took in the thoughtful setting. As they sat down, Hamza passed her a cup of fragrant tea, his gaze never leaving hers. "I want you to know," he began, his voice warm and sincere, "I am proud of your strength, your vision and your heart. No matter how challenging the journey gets, we're in this together, always." His words, infused with unwavering love and support, rekindled Marina's determination. In his eyes, she saw a partner who believed in her dreams just as fiercely as he loved her. From that evening forward, Hamza and Marina made a commitment to find a new balance. A partnership where responsibilities were shared, dreams were nurtured, and love was never lost amidst the challenges of ambition and parenthood. They learned to lean on each other, to communicate openly, and to celebrate each victory, no matter how small. As Marina's foundation grew and Hamza's business evolved, they became each other's greatest allies and strongest supporters. As S's first birthday approached, Marina's foundation began to yield its first tangible results. Women from across Dubai and even from neighboring Emirates were empowered through her programs. They found jobs, started businesses, and gained the confidence to dream bigger. The Al-Rashid mansion, once a symbol of wealth and exclusivity, became a beacon of hope, echoing with the laughter of children and the stories of women whose lives had been transformed. Time moved swiftly, marked by S's unsteady first steps that soon turned into joyful sprints down the mansion's marble hallways. The sound of his laughter filled every corner of their home, a reminder of the love that had made all of this possible. With each milestone their son reached, Hamza and Marina found themselves reflecting on the legacy they wished to leave behind. Not just for S, but for the community they cherished. Marina's foundation continued to blossom, setting an inspiring example for social change in the UAE. Women who once faced limited opportunities were now running their own businesses, leading organizations, and pursuing education. They were rewriting their stories, breaking barriers, and building futures filled with hope and purpose. Marina's vision was coming to life, her dream becoming a reality. Watching Marina's impact on society, Hamza felt a stirring within himself. Her courage and determination inspired him to look inward, to question the legacy of his own family's empire. He began to rethink his business philosophy, no longer satisfied with merely accumulating wealth. He wanted to create a company that would contribute positively to the world his son would inherit. Determined to bring about change, Hamza convened a meeting with the board of the Al-Rashid family business. Standing before a room of powerful executives, some of whom had been there since his father's reign, he made a bold declaration. He proposed a series of transformative changes: diversifying the oil company into renewable energy, implementing gender equality policies at every level, and allocating a substantial portion of the company's profits to community development projects. His vision was met with skepticism. One senior executive, known for his conservative views, challenged him. "We're in the business of making money, not charity," the man argued, his tone dismissive. But Hamza stood firm, his voice steady and resolute. "We're in the business of building a better future. Wealth is merely a tool to get there. If we don't invest in the world around us, what legacy are we leaving behind?" His convictions silenced the room, and one by one, minds began to open to his vision of progress. While Hamza fought to transform the company from within, Marina faced her own challenges. Her foundation's growing influence had turned her into a public figure. Invitations poured in from international conferences, and global media sought her for interviews. Balancing her role as a mother, wife, and social entrepreneur was demanding. The pressure of being a voice for change weighed heavily on her shoulders, and at times, she felt overwhelmed. During one such international conference, Marina received a call that shook her world. Her father had suffered a heart attack and was in critical condition. Panic seized her, guilt flooding her heart for not being by his side. Without hesitation, she boarded the first flight back to Dubai, her mind consumed with worry and fear. When she arrived at the hospital, Marina was met with a scene that left her speechless. Hamza sat by her father's bedside, holding his hand with tenderness, speaking to him softly in Arabic. His eyes were filled with love and concern, his voice steady and comforting. Across the room, Amelia sat quietly with tears in her eyes, her presence a silent offering of support and acceptance. To Marina's astonishment, the room was also filled with women from her foundation, women whose lives she had touched and transformed. They stood together, a testament to her impact, offering prayers and support to the man who had given the world the woman who inspired them. Their solidarity moved Marina to tears, filling her heart with a deep gratitude she could scarcely express. Hamza looked up as she entered, his face softening with relief. He crossed the room in 3 strides, wrapping his arms around her as she trembled in his embrace. "He's stable," Hamza whispered, his voice soothing. "He's a fighter, Marina, just like his daughter." In that room, Marina felt the full weight of love and community envelop her. Her father's journey from humble carpenter to beloved grandfather, from a man who feared his past to a man cherished by a powerful family, was a testament to the power of love, acceptance, and courage. Days later, her father began to recover, his spirit as resilient as ever. During his stay at the Al-Rashid mansion, he watched S play in the garden, his eyes shining with pride. He would often share stories with the little boy, passing down lessons of humility, hard work, and love. Marina's journey was far from over, but she had found a balance that honored every part of who she was: a daughter, a wife, a mother, a leader, and a woman of vision. Together, she and Hamza continued to grow, their love evolving, their legacy expanding. Standing hand in hand, they watched their son chase butterflies beneath the setting sun, laughter echoing through the garden. In that moment, they knew they were not just building a future for S, they were changing the world around them. And under the moonlit sky, with dreams as vast as the desert around them, Hamza and Marina made a silent promise to each other: to keep loving, to keep growing, and to always fight for a better tomorrow. Slowly but surely, Marina's father began to regain his strength. His recovery was not just physical, it became a journey of healing for the entire family. As the days passed, the Al-Rashid mansion transformed into a place of laughter, storytelling, and love. Hamza found himself drawn to his father-in-law's quiet wisdom, spending long afternoons playing cards with him under the shade of the garden's ancient olive tree. They shared stories, memories of simpler times, and lessons that no business degree could ever teach. Meanwhile, Amelia discovered a new passion in the kitchen. Determined to bring comfort and joy to the recovering man, she learned to cook his favorite dishes: aromatic stews, warm bread, and desserts filled with nostalgia. The mansion was soon filled with the rich sense of traditional meals that bridged 2 worlds, blending old memories with new beginnings. These shared meals became sacred rituals, pulling the family closer together, erasing past doubts and forming unbreakable bonds. This season of healing led Hamza and Marina to reflect deeply on the true meaning of wealth and success. They had everything money could buy, yet the joy that now filled their home had nothing to do with material possessions. It was love, acceptance, and unity that brought life to the mansion's golden halls. One evening, as they sat together under the moonlit sky after S had fallen asleep, Hamza shared an idea that had been growing quietly in his heart. His eyes sparkled with excitement as he spoke. "I want to build a city," he said, his voice brimming with passion. "Not just any city, but a place built on sustainability, equality, and opportunity for everyone. A city that reflects the values we're teaching S. A place where tradition and progress walk hand in hand." Marina listened intently, her heart swelling with pride. Hamza painted a vision of a community powered entirely by solar energy, where schools nurtured creativity and critical thinking, and healthcare was a right, not a privilege. "Imagine," he continued, his voice softening, "a place where people from all walks of life live and grow together, where children like S learn compassion and unity by example." Marina's eyes filled with emotion as she took his hands in hers. "It's a beautiful dream," she whispered, her voice steady with conviction, "and together we'll make it real." At that moment, they knew this vision was not just about building a city, it was about creating a legacy of hope, love, and equality. They decided to name the project Al, meaning hope in Arabic. The name echoed their dream of a better future, not just for S, but for generations to come. As they looked out over the vast desert, they envisioned a thriving community rising from the sands, a testament to what love and unity could achieve. Word of the project spread quickly, catching the attention of urban planners, architects, and sustainability experts worldwide. The barren land on the outskirts of Dubai soon became a hive of activity. Massive solar panels began rising from the desert floor, reflecting the sun's golden rays and promising clean energy for the community to come. Engineers and environmentalists worked side by side, designing water recycling systems to transform Al into a lush oasis in the heart of the desert. Guided by their shared values, Hamza and Marina ensured that every decision reflected the principles they wanted to instill in their community. Schools were designed to encourage curiosity and innovation. Health centers blended modern medicine with traditional healing practices. And public spaces were crafted to foster unity and understanding among people of diverse cultures. Yet, the journey was far from easy. Skeptics labeled the project as overly idealistic, dismissing it as an unattainable utopia. Critics accused Hamza of using the initiative as a public relations move to enhance his company's image. But the couple stood firm, their vision clear and unwavering. They met each challenge with resilience and integrity, determined to prove that Al was more than just a dream, it was a revolution in how communities could live and thrive together. Their young son, S, now a curious and lively 5-year-old, became a constant source of inspiration. His innocent questions about the world pushed Hamza and Marina to think differently, to challenge old norms and create a place where children could grow up safe, loved, and free to explore their potential. S's wide-eyed wonder reminded them of the world they wanted to leave behind, not just a city, but a home for generations. Hamza and Marina were committed to ensuring Al was not just a vision handed down from above. They organized community meetings, inviting future residents to share their ideas, hopes, and concerns. This transparency and openness built trust, attracting people from all over the UAE who were eager to be part of this revolutionary community. As the city began to take shape, Al became a symbol of hope. Women who once faced social and economic barriers found opportunities to learn and grow. Children from different backgrounds played together, their laughter echoing through the vibrant streets. The community thrived, its heartbeat a rhythm of unity and compassion. Inspired by Marina's success with her foundation, Hamza realized that true leadership meant not only creating opportunities, but also challenging the status quo. Determined to set an example, he called a meeting with the board of his family's company. He proposed radical changes, diversifying from oil to renewable energy, implementing gender equality at every level, and committing a significant portion of profits to community development. His proposal met resistance. One senior executive scoffed, "We're in the business of making money, not charity." Hamza stood tall, his voice steady and commanding. "We're in the business of building the future. Wealth is a tool, not the goal. If we don't invest in the world around us, we're failing the next generation." His words resonated, challenging outdated mindsets and planting seeds of change. Meanwhile, Marina continued to balance her roles as mother, wife, and visionary leader. The growth of her foundation turned her into a respected public figure, her voice becoming a beacon for women's empowerment across the region. Yet she faced her own challenges. Balancing work and family was not easy. There were sleepless nights, moments of doubt, and days when the weight of expectations felt unbearable. But Hamza remained her rock, supporting her dreams as fiercely as his own. Together, they shared responsibilities, their love growing stronger with each obstacle they overcame. They were partners in every sense, leaders, parents, dreamers, and builders of a better world. The Al-Rashid mansion, once a fortress of wealth and tradition, had become a sanctuary of love, learning, and progress. It stood as a symbol of transformation, not just for Hamza and Marina, but for everyone who believed in the power of hope and unity. One evening, as they stood on the balcony overlooking the glowing lights of Al, Hamza wrapped his arms around Marina, his voice soft and full of promise. "We did it," he whispered. "We turned our dreams into a place where hope lives." Marina leaned into him, her heart full. "And it's just the beginning," she replied, her eyes reflecting the sparkling stars above. "Together we'll keep building, for S, for Al, and for everyone who dares to dream." As they watched their son chase fireflies in the garden below, laughter ringing through the night, they knew they had created not just a city, but a legacy. One built on love, courage, and the power of hope. And in that moment, beneath the endless Arabian sky, they understood that dreams, when shared and nurtured, could indeed change the world. 3 years after breaking ground, the first families began moving into Al, a city born from the love and vision of Hamza and Marina. It was no longer just a dream, but a living, breathing community. Children's laughter echoed through vibrant parks, designed to inspire imagination and creativity. Streets buzzed with life as neighbors gathered in cafes that blended traditional Arabic hospitality with modern flair. The architecture itself was a work of art, elegant structures that harmonized contemporary Arabic design with cutting-edge sustainability. Solar panels glistened in the sun, and lush vertical gardens painted the skyline green, a testament to Hamza's commitment to a sustainable future. Hamza and Marina moved into a home at the heart of Al, along with their 8-year-old son S and their newborn twin daughters Amelia and Mara. Their new home was not a palace, but a warm, welcoming house, intentionally designed to be like those of their neighbors. By choosing to live among the people, Hamza and Marina symbolized their unwavering commitment to equality, unity, and the inclusive community they were building. Marina's foundation became the heart of Alal's social fabric, empowering local entrepreneurs and fostering a culture of innovation and collaboration. Women who had once been beneficiaries of Marina's programs were now successful business owners, running bakeries, tech startups, and art studios. The city thrived with the stories of dreams realized and lives transformed. Meanwhile, Hamza's family business had undergone a complete metamorphosis. The empire, once built on oil, was now a leader in renewable energy technology. Al itself stood as a living testament to these innovations, powered by solar energy, cooled by smart systems, and thriving as a green oasis in the desert. But not everything was as seamless as they had envisioned. Rapid expansion brought unforeseen challenges. As people from diverse cultures and backgrounds settled into Al, cultural misunderstandings occasionally arose. Managing growth while preserving the natural beauty of the desert demanded constant adaptation. Yet it was in these moments of difficulty that Alal's true spirit shone the brightest. The community came together, bridging differences, solving problems, and growing stronger as one. Hamza and Marina led by example, always listening, learning, and adapting to the community's needs. Their leadership wasn't about power but about service, about nurturing a place where every voice mattered. Their commitment inspired others, cultivating a culture of unity and compassion. 10 years after Alal's founding, the city had grown into a beacon of hope and progress, not only for the UAE, but for the world. It became an international model for inclusive, sustainable urban development. Delegations from governments, NGOs, and urban planners visited regularly, eager to learn from Alal's innovative approach to community building. Hamza and Marina, now in their 50s, looked upon the city they had built with immense pride and gratitude. What began as a dream had grown into a powerful force for change. Their love, which once felt like a fairy tale, had transcended romance. It had become a legacy of hope, courage, and vision. Their son, now an ambitious 18-year-old, was preparing to leave for college. Having grown up witnessing his parents' dedication and compassion, he was determined to carry their legacy forward in his own unique way. Amelia and Mara, now spirited 10-year-olds, embodied the essence of Al itself, curious, compassionate, and full of life. They were growing up in a world where unity, diversity, and equality were not just ideals but everyday realities. One warm summer evening, the Al-Rashid family gathered in the community garden they had planted in the early days of Al. The air was filled with the scent of blooming jasmine and the laughter of children playing. Marina's father, now cherished as a respected elder, sat under a shady tree watching his granddaughters chase butterflies with a smile that spoke of boundless love and pride. Amelia, once resistant to change, was now the life of the community. She mingled effortlessly with neighbors from all walks of life, her heart having expanded beyond old prejudices. She had grown to understand that love was the greatest wealth of all. As the golden sun began to set, painting the sky with shades of pink and orange, Hamza took Marina's hand. Together, they watched their children play, surrounded by a community built on hope, love, and courage. "Did you ever imagine we'd come this far?" Hamza asked, his voice a mixture of awe and gratitude. Marina's eyes sparkled with tears of joy. She squeezed his hand, her heart full. "I always believed in our love," she replied softly, her voice trembling with emotion. "But this is beyond anything I could have dreamed." In that moment, they realized that their story was no longer just about two people. It was about a movement, a vision, and a legacy that would continue to inspire generations. They had built more than just a city. They had built a future grounded in love, hope, and unity. As the lights of Al began to twinkle under the evening sky, Hamza and Marina knew that their journey was far from over. Their love story had grown beyond romance. It had become a beacon of hope that proved even the boldest dreams could come true. Together, they watched their children and their community, feeling the pulse of a city born from love and determination. Al stood as a living testament to the power of dreams, the strength of community, and the beauty of a love that dared to change the world. And under the starlit Arabian sky, with their hearts entwined and their vision realized, Hamza and Marina silently made a vow to continue building, dreaming, and loving, no matter what the future held. In the heart of the desert, Al flourished, a city of hope, unity, and love, a testament to the belief that with courage and compassion, even the most audacious dreams could blossom into reality. And that's a wrap on today's story. Al isn't just a city, it's a living testament to the power of love, hope, and unyielding determination. Hamza and Marina's journey reminds us that true wealth isn't measured by what we own, but by the legacy of compassion, unity, and opportunity we leave behind. They dared to dream big, and in doing so, they changed not just their own lives, but the lives of countless others. If this story touched your heart or inspired you to dream a little bigger, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more incredible tales of change, resilience, and hope. We'd love to hear from you. How would you build a better world? Share your ideas in the comments below. Thank you for watching, supporting, and joining us on this emotional journey. Until next time, stay inspired, keep dreaming, and remember, every great change starts with a single dream. See you in the next story.